So first off, you will need a tool. This is a light ivory, and as you can see, that's the fabric. If you have already bought the amount, the meters of tool that you need, that's great. So that's what I'm going to use. We will then need a metal comb to attach the veil to, and it's silver in shade. And then you would need a measurement tape. Mine is a 300 centimeter long. If you don't have that, a standard 150 centimeters would also work. You would need a pair of scissors. Any other scissors will do as well, because tulle is a very sheer and very light fabric, so it is easy to cut. You would need some needles, and you would need a plastic thread. If you don't have this nylon thread, you could also use a thread that will match to your shade of your tulle. That's fine as well. You have to cut the fabric in the length you desire. Here we have a chapel length, which is 250 centimeters long, in a 1 tier. So that is what you want to cut, or if you've bought it from the store for that ready length, that's perfect as well. So here I've got my fabric all laid out with edges perfectly lined. You have to make sure that your edges line correctly and they're not uneven. I have marked the pins here and here, so that length comes to 72 centimeters, because what you have to do is, if your fabric is 150 or 160 centimeters wide, you fold it in half. This is the folded side of the fabric, and that's the edges, and you mark and you measure your fabric. So mine comes to 72 centimeters. If yours is 160 centimeters wide, then this width would come to an 80 centimeters length. What you have to do now is also, so if this is 80 centimeters, you mark 80 centimeters lengthwise. Now mine is 72 centimeters, so I've marked my length at 72 centimeters, and then I would go across and create a quarter of a circle, which will then give me a beautiful round shape when I open the veil. So let's get started. We are going to mark it all from the very beginning. So I will have the 0 of my measure tape here on this pin, and I would then start putting the pins across at 72 centimeters. You have to make sure that your measure tape is perfectly lined at the 0 marking, otherwise your shape will not come out perfect. So then I would go ahead and mark So as you can see, we've created a quarter of a circle, and now we're going to cut it. You could also use a rotary cutter, but we are going to go in with the scissors. And now I will go in with my rotary cutter and just smooth out any deformation and the edges. I am happy with that shape, so now I would like to pull the fabric in it folded. I turn the fabric around, and this is the top side of her veil. And for the front, what I like to do is, I don't like to create a circle, but more like an oval. So you would have the width if the bride wants to cover the shoulders. So I like to make it more oval rather than circle, for the shape of the front or the top of the veil. So I just... So that's what I like to do. That way the bride would have enough width if she wishes to cover the shoulders, which doesn't work, by the way, because the veil would definitely fly when you're walking down the aisle, but I like to keep the width. It gives a very good drape as well. So I also like to do a little bit of shaping for the waterfall or the cascading effect that the brides love. And that is just, it just includes cutting off that extra bit. And there you go, we're almost done. I am happy with that shape. A little, I think I'm just gonna reshape it just slightly, and that's done. Now what I like to do is also take all my edges one at a time, so, and then just run over with the rotary cutter to smooth out the tulle fabric. You don't need to chop off a lot, but just a little bit to make it nice and smooth. And then you would again go over the other side. That is done. Now what we need is one of the cutoffs. And I like to use the stretch side of the material. And I would cut roughly around 3 centimeters wide. So this part is for the comb. And now I would just fold the fabric like so, and take the wrong side of the comb and then cover the comb. So you just want to go over like this. You don't want to stretch the fabric. I'm making sure that the edges of the comb are also covered and they don't look silver. Like I want them to look completely white. So you gotta make sure you cover the edges completely. Okay, so that is done. And to hold this bit in place, I would glue it. So basically you're looking for a dry, and you want it to be clear, like you want it to be not white but just clear fabric glue works. So that's done. And now you need your nylon thread and a very nice and thin needle. You knot it, and there you have it. So you want to take your comb and your needle, and then you need to take the front side. So this is your top side of the veil, and you need to have the middle. I have it on here because it was on the fold, which is why I know that this is the middle. And so now I would have the comb goes on the middle of the comb, goes with the middle of the fabric, like so, and then you just fold a little bit over. Okay, so I am happy with that. Then I would go in and take my needle, hold the fabric in place, and start. There we go. Now I would also okay, so I have knotted the fabric, and I would just go in and secure it with another knot one more time, like so. And then I would start stitching from the top bit and having it slightly slanter towards the inside of the comb. And you want to repeat that step. I'm just folding the edge. When it gets thicker in the middle, I like to fold it for a neat, clean and neat finish. And then after you're done and come to the end, you also want to make sure to double knot it and make sure you go all the way to the end. There you have it. I'm just gonna cut the extra threads on both the ends. And that's done. And here it is, all draped. And do you see that beautiful cascading effect on the sides? That's what you want to achieve. And this style that we just made is a without gathers, and this is a one tier. See how gorgeous that round shape is at the bottom. It would look absolutely stunning with your dress train. And yeah, this is a without gathers style in a chapel length.